Oh God, this already feels terrible again. Although it says I'm not dropping frames now. So maybe that's positive. Still loading back into Stream Manager. We're back. Hell yeah. Okay, why didn't Rectangle start? Weird. That should be a startup app. All right, we're good there. Good there. I'm assuming Tmux did not persist my sessions. I don't know. I'm using a Tmux plugin that I think is supposed to persist that, but it doesn't for some reason. This is gonna be, what is this gonna be? We're working on Dune RPC TS. What? I need to get the music going. I don't know how people stream without music in their ears. Oh my God, this is like deafening silence. All right, let's just click play there. We can hear your thoughts. Oh God. Leo, your meme was hilarious. Or your retweet. Oh, this is so funny. I have to send this to Justine. All right. Something tells me we're going to get into a bunch of TypeScript hackery here that is not going to be fun. All right, I need to all right, we're at 26, great. I want to get this plugin done so I can stop writing as much TypeScript on stream. This is gonna be Dune T RPC TS, and let's change to actually we need to go to S tier is what we actually need to do. What? Oh, it's because I did it that. Great. All right. Is my bitrate and everything doing better now? It looks like, yeah. Looks like I'm dropping 0 frames, which is good. How are the audio levels, chat? Everything good right now? Great. So part of me, we were looking at Babel macros, which could be interesting. No, let's just take a look quick. I don't think it's going to be what we want, but we could do some interesting things with Babel macros. Actually, now that I think about it, Melange could potentially do some pretty interesting thing. Melange could do some pretty interesting things by adding a Babel pass in their compilation. Well, they wouldn't really need to, right, though? They wouldn't need to because they control generating the JavaScript anyways. What up, Tech Savvy Travie? Give a quick shout out to our yeah, exactly, Trent. Like it wouldn't make sense for Babel to be in the at least OCaml side of the stack for I can't speak this morning. 6-string 982 and char string 88 are the same person. Well, I happen to actually know 6-string 982. I don't know char string though. So I'm wondering if like if I could build something into S tier to help give like PPX like functionality to S tier. That's like kind of where my head's at right now. Like how we annotate in OCaml, like a deriving macro. I'm wondering if I could make a Babel deriving S tier type thing. I just don't know how this works. Hold on, I just need to read the freaking docs quick. Whoops, I zoomed on the wrong side. What size font is this? 26, great. This is one of my favorite things about Ghosty is that they built dev tools into the console. It's so badass. It's literally the coolest terminal feature I've ever seen. You can pick, like, it's so cool. Yeah, Travis, like, have you seen Ghosty yet? I'm assuming you've at least seen tweets about it and stuff. They literally, for TUI devs, yeah, you have it. Yeah, if you press Command Option I, like you would in Chrome, it pops open developer tools and you can like debug the state of your terminal. It's really, really cool. It actually helped me a lot for configuring Tmux and NeoVim. I've never seen them together. Okay, I need to read this quick. Check out this guest post on Babel.js blog. All right, so that's just showing us the AST basically. cannot and should not be used for implicit transpolations. Don't tell me what to do. Does anyone know how I can run Windows XP 2003 app on Mac? I don't know, Leo, but I have a sneaking suspicion that we know somebody that would know how to do this and who has probably done it somewhat recently. I'm guessing Bad Cop would know exactly how to do this. I don't know why, but I just have this sneaking suspicion that Bad Cop would know how to do it in like 2 minutes. Did you guys see Bad Cop's flap repo? This is bananas. This is a working version of Flappy Bird in C++ formatted like this in the terminal. Like, what? Oh my god. It's amazing. It's art. It is literally an art form. So we have this preval. This doesn't, I want docs. Give me some better docs here. We could go look at some. There was like author docs. That's where I was going before I reset everything. Author docs. Oh, great. Here we go. If no, I know how to look at and read and use ASTs. So we get references. Okay, this is nifty. I'm thinking about, I have this idea and I have no idea if it's plausible. So the issue I want to solve today, or at least get started on solving, is that, what's the best way to demonstrate this? I don't know, but this song is aggressive right now. I'm actually going to put on the happiness aesthetic playlist. So if we quit out of Vim and we open a terminal side by side, and go to, actually let's go here and quit. Our Dune RPC server that we were working on yesterday. If we get in watch mode, right, we can connect to the server, right? And we can talk back and forth. And the communication protocol back and forth uses canonical S expressions, which we can serialize to and from, but it's clunky. So I want to solve the clunkiness. This will also help and create Melange app, because one of the folks contributing is trying to parse and rewrite a Dune project file. And if we could parse this into the existing struct, JavaScript struct that we have for the Dune project, and then serialize it back to the S expression just by using something simple, that'd be a big win. And I'm, yeah, basically we just need to convert this back into an object. And I'm playing around with the idea of potentially using Babel and like somehow building that into S tier. Oh, you're into the Screamo? All right, we'll go back. We won't go full Screamo, but I could fuck with some Dance Gavin Dance this morning. We'll listen to their most recent album. We'll just listen straight through. Spotify bought when? I have like all the stuff to integrate. Well, it would have to be Apple Music. Um, yeah. Travis, we need a camel with a knife. All right, so let's dive back into reading how Babel macro works. Because I'm thinking we could expose a binary from S tier that could just be like this baked in like code prepass. I don't know. Clever. My wife ever heard the Dance Gavin dance, she'd like you to know that she approves of my new camel friends. Let's go! I don't know if this is gonna get us to where we want. Okay, actually, this looks somewhat useful. See, this is kind of what I'm thinking, right? So if we could transform, does Babel get access to type annotations? I mean, the worst part, or the thing we could do, is we could just do like a mini API like Zod does. At least Dylan can see like 32 characters wide on his editor. Okay, Dev Dad, don't have to call me out like that. Throwing the heat this morning. State the file to path, generate UUID identifier, fake identifier. So we still need babel.types. We get a type def. Where does the type def come from? Reference path, parent path, type parameters. Okay, so we can get type parameters. That's interesting. I think regardless, even if we do write a Babel macro or some sort of macro, we're still gonna need some sort of Zod-like API, which is gonna be really annoying to write. So let's just work it with this as our sample type here. We can nix that. We're not gonna be back to writing OCaml for like at least a week or two. Well, maybe not that long. A week. Oh, I'm terrible at estimating shit, so who knows how long we're gonna be working on this. But I want to get this done for Melange, because this having an easy way to integrate into JavaScript build tools and bridging the gap with the build tools in Melange in a type safe way between TypeScript and OCaml types is going to be really useful for building all sorts of other cool tooling on top of. So once this is done, it'll be pretty nifty. Just rewrite it in OCaml. Thank you for the follow, ButtPicker12. And Travis, I don't know if I thanked you for the sub earlier. Super appreciate you. We shall port TypeScript to OCaml. That's basically what I'm doing, Nix. That's essentially what Melange FFI is. Like, That's what it is to a T. So we need a layer here that's going to be... What would we even call this? I don't want to take a runtime dependency, especially on something as big as Zod. I know there's like Joy, right? Joy versus Yup versus Zod. Yeah, everyone make sure you're following Tech Savvy Travy, following Leo Stare, following Dave, following DevDad. Trying to get everyone shout outs here. So we probably want to like just steal whichever one of these APIs is easiest to work with. God, I really do not want to... Well, the cool thing is if we write this, we could generate... We could create the serializers and deserializers for users. Yeah, Travy is an OCaml streamer now. Yeah, Serde just... I don't know if Serde would give me what I need, though. Would it? Like, if I translated it to... I don't even know if this would compile to JavaScript in its current state. Tech Savvy Travis says, OCaml seems like the perfect leak code language. I actually have a hot take on this. Well, it is fun doing like advent of code and stuff and leak code problems with, especially like tree traversal stuff. OCaml is amazing for doing tree and graph type shit. I say go back to Shy Ryan. But I think if you're not used to functional programming and don't particularly enjoy LeetCode style problems, I don't think LeetCode in AOC is a good way to learn OCaml. I think that um, building something real like a CLI or like a REST API or something with OCaml will really make it click way faster and way easier, because that code's going to be so much closer to what you're writing day to day, and like that's what's going to really make it shine when you just see how easy and supportive the type system is when you build something real and not just an algorithm or something. All right, so how would this translate to JavaScript type-wise? Like I'm trying to think about how I would use this here. Is there an examples anywhere? All right, let me, I'll add you to guest star here quickly, though. Let me fix my lag here. 1 second. All right, I guess we don't need the background image, huh? Let me invite you. We're streamed together. Oh shit, I need to stop the music. Okay. Video might get copyright struck. Where is my stream together? Where's start streaming together? Got it. Good. Invite guests. Video Stera. Send invite. All right, you should have your invite, Leo. Yeah, Dave, that's what we're actually doing here, talking about doing. Could you imagine if we were able to make a better type, a runtime type validator using OCaml and Serde than Zod and everything else? Yo! All right, let me... This thing is on. I gotta push you to stream. All right, there's that. Let me get my screen shown. And I'll share my screen on here so you can see it so there's no delay.
Excellent. I appreciate that.
Let's see, entire screen. Dude, I love the purple in your background.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just a tiny little light I have there, LED RGB thingy. And it runs out of battery every half an hour. But while it runs, it's great.
I need to get like blinds, or not blinds, curtains. I always mix up blinds and curtains to go like over here in the mornings.
Yeah.
Because like the sun just blasts through these, even with my blinds
I think
down.
the more control you have over the lighting situation in your room, right, the easier it'll be to like create different looks and so on. But then again, like I don't know why this camera, like the just joining here in the video, right? My face is lit up, right? Like there's something happening on Twitch stream together that applies a filter on me. Anyways, so
Oh, Twitch stream together is doing it. That's weird. Let me move chat up quick. Can I move this? Is it locked? Oh, it is locked. All right.
hello, chat. How's it going? Nix, Meta, Glitch, Tech Savvy, Travi, Trash.
Actually, we're just gonna keep chat off and leave it as is, cause
Ryan and the Dev Dad, and I think that's everybody.
Yeah, we're just gonna leave it off for now. Okay, so Right. We've already found that we can easily compile your library to JavaScript, which is great. Shout out Dave and the Melange team. This just works flawlessly. So how do you envision this working from the JavaScript side? So like this
Right.
is going to be our interface that we have to work with. Um,
So
yeah.
Serde has two modes of operations, right?
Okay.
On the one side, you can manually write your deserializer,
Yep.
and on the other side, you can derive it. And the derivation stuff is what I'm still working on.
Yep.
We have some support for it, but obviously it's not part of the code you've pasted in here, right? That's like the Serde derive folder.
Yep.
What you have here is the core of the runtime of Serde,
Yep.
which as you can tell just from like scrolling a little bit on the JavaScript output, it is not much, right? Like just a couple hundred lines of JavaScript, and most of it is just going to be like variables that point to a function that just keeps pointing to a function, but that function is never defined here. And that might sound strange. Like, let's say, I think this list combinator is one exception, is like a higher level utility. But
Okay.
let's say in line 300 and something, like all of these functions you see there, right?
Yep.
Deserialize int and so on, they don't really do anything, right? They're just like calling another function that has the same name, right?
Yep.
And the reason for this is that the way Serde works is that it just established a contract between your deserializer or your serializer, right, for your
Yep.
data, and some format like JSON or YAML or whatever, right? And when you create your deserializer, let's say, if do you have a type in mind, it might be easier to just do a little example with some of the types that you have.
Yeah. So let's even just, we can probably just prototype in Melange Playground, to be honest,
Yeah.
and see what the JS spits out. So I do have a type, and let's go grab it from here.
Do you want to wrap all that code in like a Serde module?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Let me jump up. How's the sound chat? Should be good because this is the same sound levels I use with BG and Meta.
Nice. I always get the feedback that my volume is not loud.
Sounds perfect.
By the way,
Awesome.
Ryan, if you can drop me the clicks to disable this fake lightning, I would love that.
Okay, so now we're down here, and the type we want to do is something like this. And let me just write out a TypeScript, or I guess I can write out an OCaml type for this real quick. So we want to get to something like type RPC response, right? It'll be like that, and it's going to have, looks like we have a ID, which will be a
I think
string.
you have a square bracket
Oh shit,
at the beginning.
Good look. String, and then we have a result of unit, maybe? I can't really tell. We'll just say that's a unit result. What did I do wrong here? Oh, right, string, sure. So let's say, does that match to you? That seems about right. Super simple.
Yeah, that looks good.
All right. So now we have Serde. We have a deserializer, a serializer. So we have this state T.
So if you want, I can walk you through like this is how we would implement one.
Yeah, sure.
So the first thing we want is a function, right, or a value really after the type, and we will define that called something like serialize underscore RPC underscore resp, right?
Serialize, bracket type. Serialize RPC resp.
Yeah, like serialize underscore name of the type, and this will be just equal, so it's just a value, and then we'll call serde.ser, and that's a module serde.ser as the submodule ser. And then in there, we'll just open parentheses because all of the things we want to do will be contained within the module. So it's just like a handy way to, have that in scope. There's a function in there in this scope now called serializer. And that function takes serializer. I need to do some work on the interface of this library because right now it's like there's no MLI. So you like get to see all of the things, right?
Mhm.
And some of them are internals. And this function takes a function as a parameter. So I normally apply this one with like at, right? But you can also just pass in a fun in
Okay.
parentheses. And once you have that function, we're inside of the serializer, right?
Yep.
And the argument you get in is called context. So you get some context in there, right? Now, in here, you get to decide how to grab a value of our RPC resp type, right? And serialize it down to some primitives. Like you're not really thinking in terms of JSON. You're not thinking in terms of the format, the final format. You're just thinking in terms of what are the primitives Certi has for serializing OCaml data, right?
Okay.
If you do auto completion on Certi ser, so that you see like some of the methods available there.
I don't know if I'll get it in.
Okay, so no worries.
I mean, I can install Cerde in my code editor, and we can do this there.
Well,
if
I
that would
mean,
be
I think
easier.
that's okay. We're fine where we are right now. It was just to show you like there's a couple of functions that we can use, but we can scroll up since you already have the library right there, right?
Yep. So we find there's DE base, Cerde ser. Yep, cool.
Yeah.
So we inherit some base, but we have all these.
Yeah, if you go at the bottom of this module, then you'll see the functions that will actually be exposed to you, right? So you have S, you have array, you have list, you have option, you have string, right? int64.
Yep.
And all of the different kinds of integers. So those will be the functions that are actually public, right?
Okay.
So once we have an MLI, those are the ones you're gonna see when you consume Certi, right?
Okay.
The other ones are completely internal. So these functions are used to sort of tell Certi, okay, I wanna serialize an integer, I wanna serialize a string, and so on and so forth, right? If you go back to our serializer at the bottom, then we can actually start writing one. We want to start with a record because we have a record, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do a record, right? And this record function takes a couple of arguments. The first one is the context.
Okay.
Everything always passes the context at some point.
Makes
then we
sense.
have the name of the type.
Okay, so
right?
this is going to be a string.
No, like literally a string called RPC resp, right?
Oh, okay.
So not because you write that string there, it means it will be used in the format.
Right.
Some formats will use this value, some others will not, right? Like you can imagine if we're serializing down to something like Avro, then you will have a schema definition within Avro as well. And that will need the type name. But JSON doesn't need it, right?
Yeah.
And then we need the number of fields that we'll have, which is also important for some formats, like binary formats, right?
Yep.
So 2. And then we will apply, we will do the usual add fun here. So passing another function.
Okay.
So you get a context as well here. And now we're inside the record, right?
Yep.
And inside the record is where we will do something, like, for example, serializing fields. So here we can call a function called field. And this will take a context first, and then it will take the name of the field, in this case ID. And then it takes the serializer of the value that goes into this field, right? Hopefully that this is starting to like click. In this case, as you say, we want a string, but you'll see that we don't actually have value around, right? We just have contexts and calls to record and field.
Yeah.
So if you add a first argument to the first lambda, and you call that like T or type or whatever, right? Then that will be a value of type RPC response.
Okay.
And then you can actually use that in line 756.
And what is this takes? Oh, come on. I'm not getting hover docs, but so where would I?
So I can guide you here.
Like,
kind of. We can guess the type of tip, right? We will know that it is a record of type RPC response by how we use it.
Okay.
So instead of tip here, you can do a function call to string and do tip.id, right?
Do I want to use our right application operator here or no?
No, just like function call like parentheses.
Okay. And this will get this here.
No, I mean like literally parentheses and put string, the function string, right?
Hold on, now I'm confused.
Yeah. So parentheses and type the word string.
Okay. Like this.
There's a function called string, which is
Yeah.
used to serialize strings, right?
Okay.
And then we need to give it an argument,
Okay.
and this will be tip.id because tip is of type RPC response.
Okay,
right? And then you can close that parentheses.
Okay, now it's starting to click.
Right. Every time you do something here, you pass in a continuation for like, okay, this is what I will do next, right?
Yep.
So you say, I have a serializer. This is what I do next. I have a record.
Continuation style API for this is really nice.
Sorry?
The continuation style API for this is really nice for writing serializers.
I think so. And this
hides the recursion or the difficult parts of recursion from you.
Yeah, this is definitely much like this is the fourth, fifth iteration of this API. So I'm hoping that it will eventually be nice. But then again, this code will be generated for you once the derivers are in place, right? So this is mostly useful if you want to do like custom serializers for like custom formats that are hard to derive for, right?
Well, what's cool is we could write our types in OCaml in S tier, use Serday's PPX stuff, and generate like the actual JavaScript from that, and then we would get serializers, right? Does that make sense?
If I understand that correctly, I think so.
Sorry, I did like a terrible job of explaining that. Let me jump over to S tier. So parts of S tier. Thank you, Glitchbyte. Shout out to Glitchbyte. I always forget there's a 0x at the beginning of his name when I shout him out, and I screw it up every time. So S tier is a TypeScript / JavaScript library, but it's partially written in OCaml. We have a build step that compiles our OCaml. So we like have this public interface. My LSP is not on. We have a public interface that wraps a bunch of the underlying libraries, and then we slap on a TypeScript interface in front of it, and that's what we export to the outside world. And that's what we generate our .d.ts for TypeScript consumers or JS consumers with. So theoretically, since we already have like this OCaml melange build step, I think we could, like, I could write a type here in my OCaml code and be like, type RPC response, use, your annotations, right? And the build step would generate the JavaScript. Well, it would generate the OCaml code for the serializers. Yeah, exactly. And then when we compile with melange, we would get the JavaScript versions of that for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, that is a super compelling story to like replace something like Zod.
Yeah, I think so. I 100% think so, and I think we can do like it will be much lighter weight, right? The one thing I think the new version of Serde is doing right is that it's barely no library at all, right? Like we'll see this in a second, but when you are making calls to like record and field and string, right? Those are sort of holding their, like they're not really being executed. We're just like putting together a description, right? Of what needs to happen. And then when you give it a module like Serde JSON, right, to string, and you pass the serializer, then those functions get hooked up directly into the functions in that module, right? So there's only like one indirection between every function call, but that's it. There's no like intermediate data types. There's no intermediate, like nothing. It's just, it's almost like if you were directly calling a serializer, right? And say, oh, write this object and open this thing and so on. Okay, so one last thing we can do here is that we don't have right now a good serializer for results. We don't have one for options, but now that you need results, then we'll definitely add one.
All right.
But if you wanted to add,
do you want me to add one, or do you want me to refactor this to an option?
No, if you want to change it to like a string option, so it's like if there's none, then it's good. If it's a string, then it's an error, right?
Actually, we can probably just do a unit option even.
Yeah, that sounds good as well. So what I wanted to illustrate is like line 756, right? If we need to serialize more than one field, the field call returns a result. So you can do let star, right, of empty, so unit equals field, and then you do in and so on. Of course, the last one you can just return by calling it.
Right. Okay. So then we would come down here and we would say field context. We would pass in result, and I'm thinking we have an option.
Yeah.
String type dot res. I'm just guessing right now.
Yeah,
Something
that's
like
about
this.
it. Yeah. We don't have that bound. I think it's bound somewhere above, but
yeah, let me say there we go.
yeah, that sounds good.
Oh, right. It should probably be a unit.
Yeah. We don't have
that's
a
a
unit
reserved.
combinator right now.
Okay, so we'll just make it string. That's okay.
Yeah, and that should work. So that will be like the definition of the serializer, right? And this will have a problem right now, but bear with us.
Yep.
Now, the second thing you want to be able to do, right, is call it, right? You want to be able to call this thing and actually turn that into JSON.
Yep.
And this is the part where we would need to do some work to get the sort of the certed JSON package to run nicely and play nicely with Melange. Because right now it is using JSON, right? Which, to be honest, we're just using the parser of JSON, and I don't like that. I feel like we could just snatch the parser right on, right?
Yeah.
But if you wanted to turn a value into JSON using this serializer, you will call something like certed JSON to string, right? And then you pass in the serializer, right? That serialized RPC resp value.
Where at? Sorry.
So that's a different module, right? Like we don't have that here.
Oh, I see.
Like remember, the data formats are entirely outside of the core of the library.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's how you would like call it. Essentially, there's a module that has a function like toString or toStringPretty or whatever, right?
Yep.
And then you pass in the serialized RPC resp, right? That
This
is
guy right
the
here.
input.
Yep.
Exactly. And then you pass the value you want to serialize.
Beautiful.
On the other side, on deserialization, which I think that will be the one that's more interesting to you, you do almost the same, right? Like the API, I try to make it as symmetrical as possible. So instead of doing ser, you do d, right? Yeah, and the derivation will essentially do what you're doing here as well. And there's a function called deserializer. And that takes a function like, yeah, except that in this case, you don't really have a type. You just have the context. And then you can do record if you want to deserialize a record. And you pass in the context and the name of the type and the number of fields he has, right? So this is not generic, right? Like you need to know what you're deserializing. You don't have the data, but you know the shape, right? Like you still know that the type will be this one. You will have this many fields and stuff like that. And yeah, again, fun context there. And then inside there, you would do literally the same, right? Let star, field, context, ID, and so on.
When do we get Vim keybinds in Melange Playground?
Oh yeah, Dave, we need that.
And so we'll do let star, and you said field, context, ID, and then we get a string, and does it just take string in this case?
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't return a unit, it actually returns the field ID.
Yep.
So if you want to use the next one, then you would do, yeah, almost the same thing.
Let star res equals that.
And then you can just return okay here. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it. So this is the API that we use for like building a custom serializer on this serializer here. I think you're missing an in there. Yeah. That looks funky, but
error. This has expression type AD context string result error, but an expression was expected of.
could you wrap this option call, that whole expression, in a call to a function called D, just the letter D?
Where at? Sorry.
The option string, just wrap that in a call to a function called D.
Okay. Wrap that in a call. Like up here.
No, you can just do parentheses around it. Yep. And the function should be called D.
Like this? Like a named?
It's just a function. So after the first parentheses, just put the letter D.
Oh, I see, I see.
Interesting. We have tests for this, so I'm surprised that it's failing to compile here.
Doesn't help that I don't get the best hover docs here. Okay, so this would end up returning this back as, I guess in this case, whatever module format I would use. So like you would just pass this into like Serde JSON, and you would give it a serialize and deserialize function, and then you would basically get the type back, and this would take a string or whatever.
Yeah, the deserialize will take whatever input the format implements, right? Which could be a string, a buffer, it could be a socket, or whatever. And it will return a result of the value that the deserializer has encoded there. In this case, it will be your type, RPC resp. And the serialize, it goes the other way around, right?
Yep.
It takes your value, and then it will return most likely a unit, right? Because the formatter just writes that somewhere, and that could be a buffer, or it could be a string that internally uses, or something like that. But I'm confused at the string error there. Like, I don't.
Would it be? Let's see if we can get a simpler case to work here. Okay, so that looks like it worked.
In that case, you can probably remove the D as well.
Yeah. This error here.
So, yeah, grab that type, the one that is showing you there.
This one?
And it goes all the way down to the new line, yeah. And we're going to annotate that, and instead of a week, we're just going to put the unit there, just so that this gets to compile.
Great.
Cool. And I think we'll have to do the same here, yeah. So the reason these weeks exist is that you want to be able to unify the serializer with the deserializer.
Nice.
But we don't have the call to the format that does that unification. But this will be the code that we have there. And I am 100% sure, right, that we can have a version of this API that uses strict uncurried calls, right? So that we don't need any of the currying sort of function finding that's happening right now on the JavaScript side. It might be even possible to do that from the same file, right? Since the OCaml native compiler is just going to ignore those things. So all of these curry
I don't think
calls,
it's... Well, I guess, yeah, there's overhead, obviously, on calling curry. But in, like, my specific case, well, yeah, it'd be good to remove as many function calls as possible, but...
I think it would just be cleaner as well to look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, part of like what I'm doing with Melange FFI is I'm like hiding as much of the underlying runtime of Melange as possible. Like I don't expose it at all. Like even I might change that. I think they're working on doing what Rescript does for variants, where rather than tagging with ints, they're going to start tagging with names and opt
with
into
strings.
potential. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
meant. Sorry.
no, no
And
worries.
in that case, I might change my mind and expose the underlying structure. You go to the FFI code base. Actually, it's probably just easier to look at in here. But yeah, so like the underlying structure for like a melange
Mm,
result, right, is gonna be like this thing right here. And this just like isn't useful to end consumers. So what I have done is essentially made these types opaque via basically 2 layers of indirection using symbols. So this type,
brand. Okay, makes sense.
and then I have a nominal type. Um, so the combination of the brand and the type brand completely hides what the underlying structure is. And if you're in an editor with JSDoc or TypeScript, you won't get any sort of completion to see like what is on the field. You'll just be like, okay,
Right.
this is a result. The only way I can work with the result is to use the result API in Launch
That's
FFI.
excellent. Yeah,
Um,
that just means you gotta follow the types.
exactly, exactly,
I
and
love that. Great job, man.
that lets you have a bunch of extra safety. It prevents you from shooting yourself in the foot if you're using this to write bindings for melange, because you won't end
Right,
up screwing up the underlying structure when it gets passed back into OCaml code.
right.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I
so I'm
think this
not.
stuff would be very useful nonetheless. Like even if we make the core 30 compile to the smallest, the cleanest JavaScript possible, right?
Yeah,
We still have the results coming out, right? We still have like optional values and some other crap that needs to be translated nicely, right?
yep. So I suppose like the next step here would be to write S expression and canonical S expression modules for Serde. Is that
Yeah, I
correct?
think that would be good.
Okay.
And if you go to repo, I can like do a 30-second tour of what a serializer, what a format looks like in Serde, because it's also
Sounds
surprisingly small.
okay. This is good because that means I could potentially replace the underlying parts of S tier 2 and rip out S S expression lib and CSXP and
Oh
just
yeah,
use Serde the whole way. And I get to write OCaml and contribute to Serde, so that's what I would much rather be doing
yay!
than
It's a win
futzing
for
around with a
everybody.
bunch of this stuff. So here's Serde.
So we have a single module key here called Serde JSON,
Yep,
and if you open that file, there's just one file really. So it's it has a bunch of stuff, but it's not that large. Just judging
yep,
by the scroll bar on the right, it's like okay, it's a relatively manageable, right? If you go to the bottom of the file, um, there's two functions here, toString and offstring, right? So these are really how you normally would use a Serde format. The format gives you functions like toString or toString pretty or whatever, right?
yep,
And the functions usually take a serializer or a deserializer, right? This
yep,
is the ser or the d that comes in,
yep,
and
and
that's the
that's what we.
value that we defined.
Yes, yep, okay,
And then you have value there, which is either the thing you want to parse to deserialize something from that, like a string,
yep,
or the value you want to turn into a string.
right,
And what's happening here is that we just make a call to serialize in the serialization path, so line 287 here, right? And
yep,
we're passing a module called module serializer. So in
yep,
this file, there's a serializer module, and you can, yeah, perfect. The module has a lot of functions, but it's not that big. If you just scroll a little bit, you'll see that there's a bunch of functions that begin with serialize this, serialize that, right? But
yep,
they're very directed. So some of them are just like serialize a bool, and you will receive a bool, and you just need to figure out how to actually write it somewhere, right? Now, where you write it, it depends on the state that you implement in this module. So if you go at the top of the module, you'll see there's a state type, right? And this is completely custom to this module, right? So if you wanted to write your own S expression serializer, your
yep,
state will be whatever you need to keep around, right?
Yeah.
as things happen. I like the Rio writers because it means I don't have to think about where this data is going. It just gives me a nice interface, right?
What is
Um,
Rio? Is this something you've written?
Correct. This is the IO layer
Cool.
for Riot,
Excellent.
which used to be called IO, but then there's another package called IO, so we had to change the name.
I like
And
Rio.
yeah, and Rio was good and there. Okay, so that's about it. Like if you go back to string, you'll see that the first thing we do um, is to create a new state all the way down to string. Like these convenience functions are usually outside of the serializers and stuff. So we just create a state for the serializer, right? And then we just say serialize with this module, right? And
Yep.
this state and the serializer and the value. So this first thing you have selected it is like this just specific to the JSON serializer we have. It has nothing to do with Serde, right? It
Yep.
has to do with how this serializer keeps track of whether we need a comma or not when we're writing things down. Like you have
Okay.
3 fields, then we say, okay, we're in the first field, no comma. But then we flip that boolean, right?
I
From
see.
but it's
Clever.
like specific to the state of the serializer.
Yeah, yeah.
And the deserializers work exactly the same. You have a state for the deserializer and a module. So if you search for the module deserialize here, you'll see that.
Come on. There we go.
And you have a bunch of functions here, how to deserialize an integer, a boolean, a string, an option, an identifier, right?
Yep.
A sequence.
And in your
So
case,
the
this
promise
parser
of
is coming from your JSON.
correct, and that's defined above on this
Okay,
file as
cool.
well.
I might be able to do something similar, at least to start, like you are, where I crib stuff from sexpression lib and csxp lib
Exactly.
just to get an initial one out, and then we can rewrite the internals to our own implementations over time.
100%. Like that's literally why we're using JSON. It's like I'm not gonna write a full parser right now. I'm focusing on this thing. But
Yeah, get
once
the
that's
API
hidden,
right.
it's an exactly.
Yeah.
We get the API right, we can rewrite stuff. The nice thing is that the real promise of Serde is that if you can implement these two modules, right, serializer and deserializer, for whatever format you have, right, then any serializer and deserializer for any data type, right,
Yeah.
will just work.
What's up?
Just gonna see if you wanted another coffee.
Yes, please. Thanks, Justine. So now for the serializer and deserializer interfaces, I guess these don't implement any sort of interface. It can just be.
They do actually.
Oh, it's just
not
not
obvious from here.
It's just
Exactly,
not tagged
but
or annotated. Okay.
exactly. If you go into the Serde, like the main Serde module, the one that you copied over to Melange,
Yep.
then you'll see if you search for module type here.
Right here. Okay, so we have.
Yeah.
I see. You just fill out this thing for each. This is awesome. Okay. Okay,
It's a
I
little
think.
repetitive, but yeah.
I mean, I would rather it be implicit and repetitive because it makes it easy. It's just like, oh, I have
Yeah,
a data
exactly.
format. Here's these tiny itty bitty primitive functions I fill out for each thing, and when I do easy work a bunch of times at the end,
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
hard work done for me.
Exactly. It's like a checklist, right? All right, I need 6 integer functions. All right, int 8, int 16. Check, 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 check.
Awesome. Well, this makes a ton of sense. And yeah, so I guess over the next couple days, I'm going to be adding S expressions and canonical S expressions to Serde.
That sounds dope. Yes.
Excellent.
I have one more thought here, and it was based on a question that Ryan had.
Yep. I haven't been
And he
watching
said,
chat.
"Do
So.
you have to know every field and type to deserialize JSON in OCaml?" And as it's written right now, yes. If your deserializer doesn't know about something, right, then it will try to do something with the data that the data is not prepared to do, right? And that can be a problem, and that's something that we need to figure out how to do. Like, do we want to support JSON with keys out of order, for example, right? because otherwise, when you say record and you say field ID and then field res, then what CERT is going to do is look for the field ID first, right? And if you don't get that field, then it's going to blow up. It's going to say, hey, I wanted the ID field and it's just not here, right?
Yep.
So we'll need to figure out how to deal with that.
Hold on, I'm catching up on chat here.
No worries.
So if I wanted to get started writing one of these, should I just fork Cerde? Should I make my own repo? How would you prefer that work to get done?
If you want to fork and make a pull request, that's awesome. If you want to keep your own format separately, that's completely fine. I think in the future, I'm going to move this repo into a CertiML org.
Okay.
And then we will have Certi derive, probably Certi and Certi derive together, but maybe Certi JSON as a separate repo, so we can have different format repos there as well. I think that'll be good.
That sounds. I think that's smart. I think for ease of development, I'll probably just fork and keep it in here, and then eventually we can break it out into that org. Any other gotchas, or are there any dependencies I need to pin? Like, how do I get set up developing? Others are contributing.
That contributing might be a little out of date. Sorry about that.
All good. I can
probably
take notes in.
That. Yeah, I don't think any of that file still is relevant. But if you look into the Certi Dune file, so inside of Certi folder Dune, I think we only depend on Rio right now. And Rio should be published in the next few days. You can get it from the Riot repo otherwise.
Okay, and I would just do like OCaml pin install Riot or Rio and point to your Riot repo.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Okay, I think this is enough to get me started. I'm sure I will have a ton of questions as I work on this, but yeah, I'm kind of excited to like replace the internals of S tier with this stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited so that we get to use more of this stuff. Like, can you imagine if we have this library in place and it's nice, right? Everybody could just say like, oh, deriving serializer, deserializer, right? And we no longer have to fight about like which one is the best JSON parser or whatever. It's like, just like, you want to use show JSON? Fuck it, use it, right? Plug it into Certi JSON, that's it, done.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Anyways, so thanks for the time, dude.
Thanks,
see you, folks. Have a good one.
Bada bing, bada boom, and we're back here. Thanks, man. Super appreciate it. This will be fun. Yep, see ya. All right, chat. Can everyone hear me again? Thank you to Leo again for coming on. Super appreciate it. Let me get the music started. That is too loud in my ears. All right, I have missed so much chat. Dan Maury gets the triangle job, and now has people bringing him coffee. Oh my god. Hi, Sabine. Okay, so let's fork Cerde and get that going. I know that's Tech Savvy Traby's favorite word. Speaking your language. Morning, Ninjatron. All right, let's go ahead and add a new tab here, and this will be Surday. Go up a directory, git clone. Oh my god. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and set up a new switch for this. Let me cat the Dune file. Greater than, okay, so we should be able to use OCaml 5. OCaml switch init. Is that what it is? Was it create? There we go. All right, so this is going to take a hot minute to set up a new switch. So let's go dig around on Twitter. Think about the implication. This is the funniest thing. Oh my god, I love it. I'm going to sue. It's so funny because Dax did the same thing. Although they went hardcore. It's so funny. I could get the 2 snake plants in my office, right? We could take this guy right here, right? I don't know if I can't see my webcam. I might have to lower my desk quick. Do one of these. And just sit back. Does this work, chat? Is this good? I think this is it, right? All right. Oh, damn it. I thought this finished from back there. My eyesight is terrible. All right, put our lovely little snake plants back. This snake plant's getting some babies coming out of it, chat. Look at this. See them in there? It's birthing. Yeah, I'll send her to Tennessee right now. Hey, Justine. Justine. Good talk. I don't know where she's at. All right, so we've got that. Now let's do an OCaml install dot. Yep. This part right here should be default. The next time Dune has or I guess when OCaml integrates into Dune, I want this to be the default option. I want to opt out of doing this, not opt in. So seldomly do I want to do it the other way around.
No, you were standing for a long time.
What?
You were standing for a long time.
I stood to get the sun out of my eyes.
Ah. Did you forget to put your grill cover on last night?
No.
Oh, well, it's windy as hell.
Is it still in the yard?
Yeah, I just noticed it.
Okay, cool.
But you should go look at the trees. It's pretty crazy.
Shit. Chat, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab my grill cover before it blows away forever.
Yeah, it might, honestly. You say what?
Sit down and read chat.
That is there? Okay, well, hold on, let me get my copy. Wait, will they be able to hear me?
Yeah, the speakers through my MacBook.
Okay. Y'all get me for now. Dylan told me Meadow is here. So, I don't know. I'm here. I don't know how anything works or if anything works. Hi. I hope he doesn't take very long because I don't know what he's doing at all. Can I type? Where do I type that though? Type in chat? Oh gosh. Wait, but Leo, then you're not a VIP. I learned that the hard way. You can either be a mod or a VIP. You can't be both. Okay. Go away, Dylan. I'm doing things.
You're good. They would rather watch you than me anyways.
Shit. I don't know how to copy paste. I don't even know how to do that. I don't know how your keyboard works.
Command C. Or
What?
Windows C.
I was
Windows
gonna
button
say.
C. What are they talking about?
Nothing.
Oh God.
Don't worry about it.
Well, anything you're doing, I can watch the clip back and clip it.
Oh, absolutely. Need to do that. Wait.
Hi, Belka. Hi, small dog. Nope, get off the way. You were just outside.
You don't have arrow buttons on your
If
keyboard.
you press caps and then use HJKL.
Oh, wait.
J and K are up and down, H and L are left and right while you're holding caps lock.
It's very strange, Dylan.
Oh boy. I already know there's shenanigans happening over here.
All right, my work here is done. You have a new mod.
Who's the mod, Leo?
Yeah,
That's good.
and you have one less mod.
Did you unmod Nightshade?
Yeah, I did. That is all. My work here is done. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay, no one's straight. This is not an OnlyFans, alright?
Get it together.
Get your head out of your...
She's so
Your area.
embarrassed. I couldn't even keep up with all the things because I was too busy trying to figure out how your keyboard works.
This is so funny. Bestie mod. You can type this / shout out Leo Stera.
That's what I was gonna do, but then he was like, wait,
Oh,
type.
Dave said he would love to get one question.
Oh.
Were
who?
you when I'm on Dave's show and podcast later?
Oh, okay. When is that?
1 p.m. Eastern time.
Today?
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be in a meeting. I'll ditch it.
She'll be available, Dave. Justine is chaotic evil. Exactly what I look for in a bestie. Who timed me out? I don't even know who timed you out, Ninja. Leo did. It was Ryan. Oh man. Is that Dax's face mixed into there? I think this person deleted that tweet, but that's definitely Dax's face mixed in. What?
I will be in meetings until 1:30.
That's fine. We'll be chatting past 1:30.
Okay, then I will be there.
There's Dave. So yeah, you get a Justine question, Dave. She'll be available.
I'm excited. This is chaos. And I loved it. Wait, so Nightshade isn't even there?
What?
Nightshade wasn't even here.
I'm not sure. He was earlier. He might have left to go to work into the office. Does anyone believe that Nightshade has a real job?
That's my coffee.
I almost drank your coffee.
You can drink my coffee. It's hot coffee.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Since when do you drink hot coffee?
It works better with the instant stuff I use.
Do you let it cool down or you drink it hot?
I put ice in it.
Kind of just tastes like hot chocolate.
It doesn't taste at all like hot chocolate.
I swear to God that tastes like gourmet hot chocolate.
I am gourmet. Okay, bye.
Could you close the door a little bit to help with light?
Come on, kiddos.
Where's Winnie?
On the couch.
Oh, okay.
Winnie, you want to go in? You want to hang out with Dylan? Or you want to hang out with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're hanging out with me.
Has he always been a Photoshop pro? I'm not a Photoshop pro. Can he prove his age? Oh my God. Let's go. He learned Erlang in his spare time. That's something a job haver would do. Definitely something a job haver. This is the funniest shit. I love this. Okay. We've got Serde installed. I think. So let's vim in. And I want to look at, we want to make a new Serde file. I want to look at the Dune project. Let's add a new, oh, look at this. There is a place for Serde S expression. Convenient. That's weird formatting, but sure. Okay, so we got S expression lib. Great, great, great. Cool. And then we'll pop open a terminal. We'll say Dune build, is it like Serde S expression dot OCaml? Yeah, okay. So then we can do OCaml install Serde X expression dot OCaml. Oh, right, we don't do that. OCaml, is it dot? Slash. Thank you, Ninjatron. Appreciate you. God, this sun. I need to get blinds. Or, not blinds. The opposite of blinds. Curtains. See you, Ninja. Are we getting a Gleam stream today? Hell yeah, sweet. I will be watching for sure. Oh wait, how does that work? Is there a variable up top somewhere? How does this work, Leo? Is that like a picks the same version for everything at pin time? Ah, so it'll basically like fill in .002